Welcome to the Student Growth Percentile tutorial series, brought to you by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. This is the first in a series of tutorials about the Massachusetts Growth Model. In this tutorial, we will explain the basic concepts of the growth model, which is being reported for the first time in 2009. First, it's helpful to understand what MCAS performance levels are. Prior to 2009, MCAS only illustrated how each student is performing relative to state grade level standards. For example, let's take Daniel, a student who scored 240 on the 5th grade math MCAS exam. Based on his score, we would consider Daniel to be proficient in 5th grade math. The next year, in 6th grade, Daniel scores 240 again on the mathematics MCAS. He again demonstrated sufficient mastery of 6th grade mathematics content. Notice, however, that the 6th grade bar is higher, meaning that the 6th grade MCAS contains more challenging content than the 5th grade MCAS. Given that Daniel scored a 240 on both tests, did he grow? Well, we don't know for sure, but in the year between MCAS tests he probably learned a lot of new mathematics content. Even if we assume Daniel did grow, however, we don't know how much he grew. Until now, we haven't been able to quantify it. This is what the Massachusetts Growth Model is intended to do. It provides a statistically valid way of measuring a student's change in performance over time. When we refer to growth, we're referring to an individual student's performance over time compared to other students with similar score histories. We express the measurement of growth in units called student growth percentiles. As we've said, each student's rate of change is compared to other students with a similar test score history, or their so-called academic peers. So Daniel and all other students who scored just like he did are compared to one another. The rate of change is expressed as a percentile, which is a commonly understood manner of comparing things to one another. Let's go back to our earlier question. How much did Daniel improve in mathematics from 5th grade to 6th grade relative to his academic peers? We're able to quantify this with percentiles when we compare Daniel to students with similar score histories. If Daniel's student growth percentile is 65, his performance was better than 65% of his academic peers, and 35% of his academic peers performed better than he did. So is this growth high, low, or typical? You could say that Daniel's growth compared to his academic peers wasn't extremely high, but it wasn't exactly typical either, and it certainly wasn't low. So, why measure growth this way? Because it's a way to measure progress for students at all performance levels. Let's move to another example, this time with two actual students, Harry and Ivy. On the grade 5 and 6 ELA MCAS tests, Harry has demonstrated he's squarely in the proficient performance level, scoring 248 both years. Ivy, on the other hand, has demonstrated she's in the warning failing performance level in both years. Obviously, if you compare Harry's performance to Ivy's performance, Harry has performed better than Ivy has on these tests. But, in measuring growth, Harry isn't compared to Ivy. He's compared to all of his academic peers, the students who scored much like Harry has, around 248 in both years. Ivy is being compared to students who have scored much like she has, 214 in both years. Therefore, on the grade 7 ELA test, they each have an equal opportunity to grow at any student growth percentile. Harry could achieve better than 99% of his academic peers, up here around 274, all the way down to a student growth percentile of 1, around 230. Ivy could achieve better than 99% of her academic peers, up around 236, all the way down to a student growth percentile of 1, around 202. The growth model can show student progress no matter where a student is in terms of their performance. To recap the basics of this tutorial, student achievement compared to grade level standards gives us important information, but measuring growth offers a broader, more complete view of student performance. Student growth percentiles measure progress regardless of MCAS performance levels. For more information on student growth percentiles, including other tutorials just like this one, Visit our website at www.doe.mass.edu/MCAS/growth.